The 5916 is a Chinese Tier 6 light tank. In 1957, a new light tank project was initiated by the Chinese government. Development of vehicle was completed in 1959. The new tank, weighing 16 tons, was equipped with the 4-wheel torsion bar suspension and rear replacement of the drive wheel, and it mounted the 57mm gun. Later, this gun was upgraded to 76mm. In World of Tanks, 5916 leads to the WZ-131, but let's see how it fares in some gameplay. Hello guys and welcome back to World of Tanks Ace Tanker series. As you can see, today we'll be driving the 5916, one of my favorite tier 6 light tanks, and I'm going to show you why not one, not two, but 3 replays that you're going to see in this video. Yes, 3 replays. Why? Because they're very short, so I needed some time to talk to you about this tank, and I'm going to show you 3 replays. The first 2 are going to be the second class, the first class, and the last one is going to be the Mastery Badge Ace Tankers, so we're going to get progressively better from one gameplay to another. But let's get down with it. So we are driving the 5916 on the map. As you can see, this is Fjords. I'm platooned with Mr. Urke in his Type 64, another Chinese Tier 6 light tank, and immediately I go to a position that is on E4, E5, trying to put some shots on the crossing heavy tanks, but unfortunately, as you saw there, I didn't really find a shot on that WZ-111. Now the second best thing I can do here is maybe try and go to this corner, and from this corner I'm going to be able to spot anything that is in the bushes on the right side. But you have to be careful when you are trying to come out here. Why? Because there is 3 artillery on the enemy side and they like to shoot this corner. On every tank that goes here tries to poke out and spot their friendlies. So spot the enemies on this corner, you're going to get shot by the artillery, so you have to be really careful when you are going from this position. Now, what am I talking about? Spotting the enemies. There it is, the T-34-85. I spot him, my artillery was pre-aimed at that position, and when you are playing on this map, so when you are playing Fjords and you are on the upside, when you are driving your artillery, what you want to do here is basically shoot on the position where the T-34-85 was. That is a known hideout for the scout tanks that come from the other side, and it often comes to me that I one-shot or like hit something in the bush. You can see the trace from your artillery going in that bush and, well, doing damage. Now what am I doing here is pretty foolish. I decided to, well, just rush this T-34-85. I didn't really know there was a cluster of enemy tanks behind him. So there is 5 enemy tanks that are spotted there. Still poking around this corner, not that good for me, but with a good rate of fire I was able to fire twice and only receive 1 shot. Unfortunately, the first one bounced, the second one penetrated, but it is something that you have to get used to when you are driving this small Chinese tank. And let's talk about the guns. So the first gun you get on this tank is, in my opinion, the best gun, and you should always use it. Never go for the last gun on this tank. Even though if it's a autoloader, you only get 85mm of penetration on the last gun, so that is something that you have to, well, cope with, and you're not going to penetrate. When you get to tier 8s and tier 9s, you're not going to penetrate your enemies that easily with the 85mm of penetration. Why use the first gun? Well, this gun is the one that you probably know for the Type 34, or if you like the Russian version, the T-34, so it's the, I believe it's the 57mm ZIS-4, and I don't know what's the Chinese version of this gun, but yeah, basically the same gun, almost the same accuracy, the reload and the aim time. So it is a pretty beastly gun, as you know, and as you can see, it punches holes into tier 6 and tier 7 easily. What I was talking about, the artillery just hit Mr. Urke and finished him off with 1 shot. He is in a light tank, he is very easily to be penetrated by the artillery, so yeah, that's something that you have to be careful when always driving your your light tanks. Now, this game, as you see, is going very well for us. We are going to win this, no question about it, but there was 2 things that I could have done here. I could have gone for the artillery, but you can see that the ARL is closing in on the artillery and I probably wouldn't get there in time to shoot at them. The second thing I can do here is go for the Jag Tiger 88 and I park my light tank next to the tank destroyer. What happens next is, well, I feed on the tank destroyer quite easily here and I'm probably dead because this Jag Tiger is going to finish me. He goes back, I dunk his move and he's dead thanks to my friendly tanks here, so I survive. Well, I have the chance to shoot on the remaining artillery. One shot there, pre-aiming, not really auto-aiming, not really hitting there, and this one should have gone in. Fortunately, I didn't do much here, so I have to improve for the next game. Let's see it. So the next gameplay is on Himmelsdorf. As you can see, I'm still playing with Mr. Urke, but he is going to drive his artillery in this one and he's really frustrated, as I recall, on this one, so he decided to be a scout in his artillery and we'll see how that goes for him. Immediately you can see that they have a lot of light tanks that are going to try and push very aggressively here on the middle of the map. The 820 is going to take the corner on the left, sorry, on the right of the map, and the Lux is just driving through, trying to find some spots on the tanks that are trying to cross in. For me, I'm going to take the hill on the Himmelsdorf and I'll try and do something from this position. Now, I was talking about the gun, still using the 57mm as you can see. Why? Because I find it the best gun on the 5916 and we are going to see some long range shots from this position on the enemy tanks that are on the other side. So really not able to find a shot here on the heavy tank number 6 and well, there is actually nothing for me to shoot from this position. You can see that I'm accompanied here by the T-21. We have the IS pushing up and this is going to be a, well, this is going to prove to be a really bad mistake for our team. Now you saw me there shooting on the OI. Fortunately the first couple of shots didn't go there through the target. I think I hit the wall in front of the OI, but the one of them hit the OI on the side and well, yeah, you can penetrate the OI with this gun from the side. We'll go figure. Now we are in a, well, good position and a bad position here. We have the OI that is on the other side, but I believe that he is not looking on the hill, so we have the opportunity to help our T-21 to finish off this KV-13. So the KV-13 is very well armored on the front. I tried to go for the side here, but he was too angled and I missed one shot into his cupola, and this is, well, allowing the KV-13 to put shots in the T-21. If I reacted faster, I could have maybe saved the T-21 not to lose that much HP, but unfortunately I wasn't able to. Now the T-34s that were trying to... oh, that was a nice shot by the OI. Finishes him off quickly. The second thing I didn't talk about is the speed of the 5916. Now you saw me there, just took the shot at the T-34-85. Now he ignores me as he knows that I don't have enough damage, but he ignores my DPM, which is bad for him because the DPM on this tank 57mm gun is around 2000, and if you have the best crew, you have the gun rammer, you are going to be able to penetrate, well, you're going to be able to do more than 2000 damage if you penetrate every one of your shells. Now you saw me here putting premium shells into the, I believe it's the Su-122-44, yep. Not really doing much damage on the OI and the IS. Actually, I penetrated the IS a couple of times, but really from this position, if the IS shoot me only once, I'm going to lose more than, well, 70% of my HP, so I really need to be careful. Now that Su-122-44 is pushing on the Nashorn, the Lux is helping from behind and that Nashorn is dead. So I find myself in a really bad position here. I have the Lux, I have the ELC in front of me, and I have the Su-122-44 coming in. Now the gun depression on the tank, as you saw there, is not that great. I had the shots on the ELC, but unfortunately didn't penetrate him, and this shot was really nice there because, if I may say so, because the tank was not even spotted. Now going for the AMX, ramming the AMX, ducking the shot of the Su-122-44, putting one shot into him, the second one bounces and the SU reloads. He takes off nearly all of my HP. I only left on 73 HP, but I have 4 kills. I finish off the one of the tier 7s that is left on the enemy team, and there is 3 of us against the 6 of them. Now I don't believe that we are going to win this. We have the IS that is on basically one shot for the enemy IS, and we have the artillery, which doesn't really gonna do anything in this matchup because it's a city map. He's not going to hit anything. So I have to carry, right guys? I have to go for the T1 heavy first because he's occupied with the IS. He doesn't know that I'm coming from this position. So I'm rushing down at my top speed, actually more than my top speed. I was going for at 67 kilometers per hour. The 60 is the top speed. 70 now, going for the back of the T1. Fortunately the IS finishes off the artillery. I find the T1, he's left on 1 HP, and I put the last shot in him. Now the enemies are starting to cap because they cannot win with tier 7 tanks against a tier 6 that is me in my 5916. Now I find the OI here. First shot to the tracks, second shot is going to be on the side. Go for the side of the OI, I don't know why that first one didn't go through. 2 shots in the side, finish off the OI for my 6th kill, and the only thing that I have to do now is go for the decap on the friendly cap. So what I'm trying to do here is like psychological war. I'm asking them if they're scared that I'm going to come there and finish them off quickly. But they're not easily fooled. They're not going to go out, and we lose this one. Actually, this was the first class game. I have to do better for the next one. So for my last trick in the 5916, I'm going to have to play alone this time, and I'm playing, as you can see, on the Siegfried Line assault game mode. I got a pretty nice matchup here. I have the tier 7 only, and let's see what the 5916 can do in this matchup. So what I'm not going to do, and that is I'm not going to act like that T37 here. He's in the open field. The entirety of my team has the shots on that T37. Also on this CLC that is trying to, I don't know what he is trying to do. He is trying to jump. He jumps, he turns over, and he faces the wall, and I'm going to kill him because why not? This is my first kill, and well, those 2 scouts, don't be like those scouts, don't do that. You are driving a scout, that doesn't mean that the game is over for you, especially when you get this nice matchup as they got here. They can do a lot of this in this game, and I'm going to show you that you can do a lot of it in this game with my 5916. Now this is my 2nd kill, although be it on the light tanks on the enemy team, but still kill is a kill. So now fighting off with the Panther, not really smart from me. I received 1 shot that was from this light tank here, and fighting with the Panther, not really the best thing that I can do here to help my team. So what I can do is, well, we are playing in the city, as you can see, I can use my mobility to outflank and outmaneuver the enemy tanks. Now you can see roughly where the enemy tanks are. You can see that the Tiger is inside the city, and there are no tanks on the outside of this side of the city. How I know that? We have the scout on the 0 line. Now I can push on the Panther, use my mobility, use my traverse speed, put a lot of shots in the Panther. He puts 2 into me, I believe I put 4 into him. I give some courage to the BDR and the Tiger one to push on the Panther and finish him off, and now we are in the city. Now we have the city fight going on here against the enemy tanks. Unfortunately I lost a lot of health here, more than half. I'm not really happy about it, but I believe that my maneuvering here allowed the friendly team to go forward and finish off that first line of defense that was the Panther. Now I really don't want to fight with the Black Prince. He's going to put big holes into me, even though he has the small gun, not doing a lot of damage, but for me it's like 20 to 30% of my HP. So when you're driving your light tanks in the city maps, what you want to do is not rush foolishly into the enemies. Really didn't know that I can park my tank under a building there, but yeah, you learn something every day. So you don't want to rush your tank into, well, bad positions. You're going to try and find the side shots and the rear shots on the enemy tanks, and as you can see, the Black Prince and the Churchill 7 are, well, in a nice position for me to flank them and kill them now. So they're looking where the IS is pointing his gun. He's pointing this way, but I really have to go across, and the IS misses. If you heard that in the background, he missed my tank. That was lucky for me, and now I have the back of the Black Prince and the Churchill 7. Now, why this position is good for me? That the Churchill 7 and the Black Prince really have to take care of the tanks that are in front of them. If they turn around, I can just pull back quickly towards the position behind them, and well, if they turn around, the friendlies from the front are going to finish them off. We finish off the Churchill 7, we go for the Black Prince. Same deal here, shooting at the Black Prince. One shot, the second shot, the Black Prince turns around and he's dead. Yeah, so if you have the light tank and you can find the back of the heavy tanks or the medium tanks, the best bet for you is to just pump shots into them. When they try to turn, you just pull back and not allow them to shoot you. That will allow your friendly team to have a lot of time to shoot them from the front in the pullout that is turning backwards, if that makes sense for you. Now there is only these two tank destroyers left, so I decide to YOLO here. The first one dies to the BDR. I am going for the T-67. One shot on the move. The second shot, I'm reloading faster than him. The third shot, and really a nice slide here for the finish, for the mastery badge. As you can see, I didn't really get a lot of medals, but I feel that I did a lot of things to finish off the enemy team and help my team win this one. So I got a couple of medals, only a Bruiser, Duelist, Fire for Effect, and of course the mastery badge Ace Tanker. On the team score sheet you can see that I did 2001 damage, 3 kills and 1171 experience. The previous two replays had around 1500 damage, but that was not enough to have the mastery badge at the end. On the third report you can see that I fired 36 shots, of which 25 hit the target and 24 penetrated, and with the standard count I was able to score 20,000 credits. Now I just wanna recap what we saw in these 3 replays. Now we saw what you can expect when you are driving the tier 6 light Chinese tank. So when you are driving this tank you're gonna get a pretty nice mobility. With the Top Gun you're not going to get a lot of penetration, but if you want to drive it with an autoloader you can do it. But still I believe that the 57mm is a better gun, because it reloads pretty quickly and you feel like an autoloader to me when I drive it. Also the penetration on the 57mm is better, and with the premium shells you even get 187mm of penetration, which is quite enough to get through some tier 9s. Only downside to this tank is the alpha damage, but as I said you cut the DPM and that's what you have to play for. So the 5916 is probably not the best tier 6 light tank that you can get for yourself, but I really do like it as it has some unique features. It is the gun and you really get the great mobility, and if you find yourself in a good situation that you can outflank your enemy tanks, you really are going to do a lot of damage to them. As always guys, if you like this one you can leave a like, if you didn't like it you can leave a dislike, and leave a comment in the comment section down below and tell me what you think about this tank. If you're wondering what to watch next, you have the previous video linked in the top right corner. It is a T28 concept. Also, if you haven't subscribed to the channel already you can do it now. I hope you guys like this one, and I'll see you in the next one.